We chatted about some of our game options that we had, and we decided to try this Chrono Trigger ROM hack that we found a while back called Prophet's Guile. It is supposed to be relatively short, from what I understand, and kind of tells the story of Magus going back in time. So yeah, all I know about this is that it's about Magus.
Yeah.
Going back and dealing with like his backstory of what was happening there when, if you haven't like played Chrono Trigger,
I would say
you should
stop right now,
probably
get out.
Stop watching this.
Spoilers.
And go play Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game, best video game of all time, hands down,
and worth playing. So it's so good that someone made a little fan game with their own story to fill in an unexplained plot point from a game from 1996 or whatever, you know. So
assuming you've played Chrono Trigger, you'll remember there's the whole bit where you go back to what's the Kingdom of Zeal with the floating cities in the sky. And Magus has also been pulled back, and then he reveals himself to have been this prophet character that's there during the story that is kind of revealing the future to the queen and these other characters. My understanding is that this game is going to be about us going and doing that and like manipulating the people in the past to try to set up the events that Magus here wants to have so that he can get revenge on Lavos. Do you have anything else to say about it, or shall we just dive in?
I don't really know what to expect of it. It might be garbage, it might be amazing, so we're just going to kind of...
Yeah, like, reviews of it have been really good, and I love Chrono Trigger, so I figured it was well worth giving it a check.
I don't know how exciting this will be to, like, watch someone else play, but, like, we're going to just play through it, and we're filming it, so here you go.
Yeah.
Yep, we're Magus.
Oh, you don't want to...
Nope. Respect the lore.
That's what I was going to ask if you wanted to change your name. And,
Change it to Crono. You fools!
I only summoned him! He lives in the inner earth, absorbing the land's power and growing ever stronger. What? Oh man, this part of Chrono Trigger is so good. This place, that means...
A little wandering around here because I haven't played Chrono Trigger in a while either.
I think you can go up the mountain. Oh, it's the... I think you can go up the mountain somewhere. Oh, tell.
super into him, just like self-narrating all the time. Is the audio crapping out, or is it like that intentionally?
Could not tell you.
It seems like it's intentional.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character in Chrono Trigger? Mine is Magus.
Clearly, my favorite character in Chrono Trigger is that guy who's a chef for the entire kingdom, and he gives you some beef jerky to feed an army.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of safe. My favorite character is his cat.
Reasonable.
Fun of our clothes.
He just doesn't know style.
It's true.
I wish I dressed more like Magus.
They couldn't, with all the technology, make it so you beam from one
Nope.
continent to another. You gotta beam down to the snowland and back up.
Yep.
Can't just build a bridge.
Nope.
Like this one.
They clearly have like an airship dock there. There you go, line of sight alignment.
They have line of sight. Like you can see the other floating continents.
Maybe it's only possible to have vertical movement.
Alpha door.
Did you should have named your character?
Don't have enough spaces.
No.
We'll go to Alpha. Alpha D. Alphad. Cord's cut. Sorry. I'm still caught. Like I'm up here somewhere.
Oh, it's under the keyboard. Sorry.
You missed a guy say that a new one set the lab on fire. It's like asinine.
He's like beaming back and forth.
Cerulean Lake. Oh!
You don't want to go to the princely bathrooms? That dope hood.
Pulled it out on his way in the door.
your private eye.
Uh-oh.
You gotta use fire on those kids. Updraft.
Super cool.
I don't think your strats are gonna work here.
I mean, I'm doing damage to him.
That's true. Uh-oh. Pro tip.
Don't fall down.
It's a rookie mistake. Falling off the cliff.
fight him and fall down.
Maybe if you fight him and you immediately run forward, you won't fall. Maybe the updraft will help you.
It's an obulus.
An old, useless coin. How well do you feel like this fits into Chrono Trigger so far?
I mean, it's obviously going to be weird because it's... like, there's not really going to be a sense of progression. Like, he starts out strong, he's clearly strong at that point in the narrative, so he's not going to be, like, super weak or anything.
And presumably won't get terribly strong during the game either.
Yeah.
Since he's not much stronger than this when you get him in the game, if you get him. Hashtag spoiler alert. He was just sleeping in some ice. He's into that.
This is, not going great. There have already been some dialogue choices that I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to remember that the original's dialogue was written for like a teenage audience, and so there were decisions made in the translation process to make it, you know, accessible to youths. Not equipped to deal with it. Well, its attack power went up. It's gonna be bad. Well, its attack power went up again. Really, I don't feel like there's anything I could do about that. That was just kind of...
Yeah.
Well, hey. There you go.
Ooh.
Death counter 1. Load up that save file.
That guy loves ice and lightning.
We're gonna call this segment Updraft.
This guy's gonna kill me.
I guess you can walk back to town and use those heal platforms, heal yourself up. Since you're kind of wrecked. back there. Time is passing. Oh, you saw yourself. Yeah, check out your room.
Yeah, right.
There's some guards and a woman back here. Climb down. You climb first. I was gonna say maybe you can't get that item because it's there in the real game.
Yeah. It would be funny if there were things like that.
Is this where we just came from?
Yeah, I don't know. I just like hit the point where it took me directly into the climb animation, and there's nothing you can do once that starts. Okay, it looked like we came from the bottom there to me, but I guess we came from the top. Melchior.
He's out. You just failed your mission. He just was like, I'm out of here.
Oh, leveled up. Get over here, Melchior. Uh-oh.
Probably don't let that happen again. Really bad news. He's getting kicked.
Melchior.
Oh.
Like how Magus shook his head at me. Really appreciate him just walking off while I was fighting the other gargoyle to go fight a gargoyle of his own. Ugh.
Oh, it's good. We got this thing because we got to redo it. No.
Yeah, see? Oh, he's gonna get attacked. Look what you've done.
I kind of want to see if he was just gonna like fall.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, oh. I don't know. It's kind of interesting they gave like a plausible explanation for how he gets imprisoned.
Yeah.
Which is straight up not explained, I think, in the game.
Yeah, you don't know. Well, like, you know that he made the red knife to mess with them to destroy the Mammon machine, but it's not really clear, like, why any of that happened. So, yeah, it's interesting that somebody's filling that in and trying to explain why he turned against the idea and how that escalated.
Get my way.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if the answer is like, don't go there, or don't make mistakes up to that point. Ugh, man.
I think this mechanic is
This is
stupid.
dumb.
Yeah, whatever's happening here is just like real dumb. But, okay, I see what you were doing. Get Malchior to the top, and then we're gonna have to like fight him to imprison him. And we're gonna have 10,000 health.
I think my favorite character in Chrono Trigger is Shala because her story isn't explained. Like, it's just kind of like, she's got something weird going on, and it's obviously like a hole that doesn't get developed.
I actually saw a ROM hack that addressed that and makes Shala a recruitable character that you can get.
Yeah, because her sprite set is more involved than the average NPC, so the assumption is that she was supposed to be a playable character.
Mm-hmm. I considered playing that ROM hack of Chrono Trigger the next time I feel like playing Chrono Trigger. Monk Rubble.
Take that.
She went right through me.
You did it. There's an item on the mountain there.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Guess I'll nap.
I was gonna say go to your room. No, sorry. His, as a child, room. You haven't been able to go back there yet. Okay. Sorry. I mean, they told you that, like, construction is going, so, like, maybe they want you to go investigate that. I'm not real sure.
Won't let me nap, so maybe.
Oh, it looks like you're supposed to go to that lake.
Was it not doing that earlier?
No, I don't think so.
I hadn't really paid attention when he went there earlier, so I just assumed that was its normal effect.
Go up, up.
Weird.
No, those news are gonna take you out.
Oh, dang. New gang.
Wiped.
Okay, apparently you are supposed to win that one.
Oh, nailed you.
I really assumed I was just supposed to die there.
Worthless.
Yep. Headbutt. Wow. That sucks.
So that one that doesn't take damage,
Uh-huh.
I think you're supposed
Maybe
to like
use
just,
the one to
just
attack.
attack that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's either that or you're supposed to wipe the other three and then the fight will end.
At first, I felt like this fit really well.
Well, now you're
into
mad.
Chrono Trigger. It feels less and less like Chrono Trigger. So we have to deal with weird mechanics like don't let Melchior get hit 3 times.
job. He dropped a thing.
Uh-oh.
I'll show it him. I'll build a plane.
Put wings on a time machine.
So like the gameplay elements of it are like the where it's lacking because it's like now go fight some monsters in the palace.
Yeah.
There's like a problem in the palace. It's like
Yeah.
all right. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Otherwise, it'd just be text.
Uh-huh. I'm suspecting it froze there.
Probably did.
Let's go ahead and turn it down a little, just in case. And give it a second. See if it pulls out of that one, but
Press the buttons. It's not looking good. Did you save after that new fight?
no.
Oh.
I didn't see a save point anywhere.
Ooh.
Alright.
Maybe is that gonna be a segment there?
I mean, like, that new fight was real fast, so I guess let's just try it again real quick.
Alright.
Here. Let's try a second. I'll make sure everything's good. Yeah.
Turn the game audio back up.
Yeah, that's what I was forgetting. There you go. I think that's about the same as it was.
So what did you do? Just like
I just physically attacked the third new, the one that drops from the top.
and a magic on the others.
He died instantly, and then just magic the others because.
So I wasn't paying attention. Was that the one that was doing 1 damage?
Yeah,
to
that's
us?
the only one that does 1, and the others all did everything but 1.
Oh.
So that was the whole gimmick that was happening there. And it was just not apparent because they were all news.
He does drop down like that.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Well, now you're gonna die.
Yeah. Oh, everything's
I ruined it all.
gone astray. Oh no. Well, I mean, speed's running at 150%.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Invalidated.
Put my foot right on that keyboard. I have no idea what buttons I hit.
One of them is that one you hit with like that you wiped out the
Yeah.
HUD in the previous one. Is it like an F key?
Toss it down in there. Nope, I have no clue what the sequence was there.
Maybe it'll, oh, good.
Yeah. Turning layers on and off.
Maybe it'll get through that E section
Yeah.
this time.
Turning these layers on and off is interesting. Restart real quick. Hopefully. All my crimes have been erased.
I mean, not erased, like it's been recorded.
It was because we talked trash about the gameplay for just going down to fight things in the palace.
Yeah. Well, then just don't play it.
Yeah. It sounds thrilling, game. I can't wait to experience that. Please load this time. Saw through my deception. Well,
that was Prophet's Guile.
that might be all of Prophet's Guile. Yeah. We're gonna call that a segment, and we'll troubleshoot and see if we can figure out what just happened. So we're coming back to talk about Chrono Trigger Prophet's Guile.
Right. I'm going to append this onto the end of our gameplay footage. Basically, there's a bug that causes the game to crash in the emulator that we use. And I didn't feel like going and getting another emulator just to get past that.
Mm-hmm.
So our reaction to that was to just go find someone else's gameplay footage and
Watch that like last 10 minutes
yeah,
or whatever.
we were suspicious. Well, I mean, like we didn't know how much of the game was left, but it turns out it was like very close to the end. There was one more area, so
Yeah.
whatever. So I figured we would just kind of like talk about our reactions to it and just kind of like put this in there so that at least it has an ending instead of just cutting off.
Sure.
So there you go. And obviously we were probably talking about it as we were playing the game, and so you were getting our thoughts along the way. But
what are your final impressions?
So I think it's a neat concept. I'm not sure that the execution is particularly worthwhile overall, is my feeling about it, and it's because it's so short.
Sure.
That you can play through it in an hour. Maybe at most 2 hours if you're just talking to everyone and really taking your time, but it's short.
Yeah.
And the amount of effort that had to go into the creation of it just to create something of that length, I want there to be more for that effort.
Okay.
I think it's really interesting. So one of the things that makes Chrono Trigger such an interesting game, I think, is that there are holes that aren't filled in. And so it leaves spaces for people to kind of wonder about what's going on with this or that.
Sure.
This attempts to fill in one of those holes, and I think that's admirable. And I have no real complaints about how they handled that narratively. And then it's mostly a matter of whether or not you think that that bit of narrative is something that you're so curious about that you want to see what someone else's interpretation of it is, if it even matters to you filling in that gap.
Sure. I thought it was interesting as a project. I would 100% believe if you were playing Chrono Trigger, if they had included something like this, had a section that was interspliced where you got to be Magus for a little while and run around and do these things as kind of a teaser to the idea of, well, do you want to fight him or do you want him to join you?
Yeah.
I think it's the length that you're talking about there where it's kind of short. I think that's why that it is supposed to fit into the game just like that. Especially with the way you see those little cutscenes happening back and forth in some sections.
Yeah.
Where it shows you, oh, here's what's going on with Crono right now. It would have made a lot of sense if you were bouncing back and forth between those two parts of the game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you end up there and you see Magus and you understand, oh, I was setting myself up for this whole set of problems.
Yeah.
I liked the music in it.
Yeah, they did some interesting rearrangement stuff. I'm not super keen on taking music from unrelated projects and throwing them into your game and be like, well, here's this FF6 song and it's just part of this now. I don't know that I would have been happier with it just using Chrono Trigger music, but I liked the rearrangements of existing Chrono Trigger songs. I think that was interesting.
I felt like all the dialogue was pretty good. You kind of mentioned that as a thing that was in there.
Yeah, it's you already have a template in place, basically. Clearly being inspired by the translation of the original Super Nintendo one, not retranslations from later. Trying to stay faithful to the tone of that script. I think it's a little off when he becomes the prophet and he starts talking in a higher elevated tone.
Oh, sure.
And it's a bit I don't think that I think that the tone that they went for when they translated that game was well, this is a kid's game, and so they didn't use lots of big words. And so it feels a bit off when all of a sudden he's throwing big words in. But otherwise, yeah, it's believable. I think probably my number one complaint is the length. It's so short. The second one would be that for being an RPG, none of the battles matter.
Yeah,
the experience system doesn't matter.
Flavor.
And at a certain point, it's more of the use of the medium to tell that story, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at, which is that the battles don't need to be there. You're just trying to convey a story, and you're just using this means of telling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's 100% successful because you have things like the Mount Woe thing where you've got to escort the guy up the mountain. And, he got hit.
That part was so bad.
And you're like, well, you lose, and you just kind of go, okay. Because it's not like anything that's in Chrono Trigger, and it's kind of a weird
that's what I was
distraction.
about to say. That like that whole thing that's happening throughout it with there being like puzzles instead of like normal fights, like the boss fights are all kind of figuring out what order you have to do things in to win it. Because you're not expected to level up and get stronger. You just like presented with a problem, and here are the tools you have to play with it. Yeah, so figure it out. The one part that we did not show, which was the final boss, was kind of the worst of it, where you have to do things pretty much in a specific sequence, or you just die, and you have to try again. And I think there are certainly elements of that in Chrono Trigger, but I think it's not quite like it's not as exaggerated. Yeah, like you always have some flexibility in how you can approach something, and there's not really any flexibility there because you have one party member and he knows these skills, and you have to use these skills in this fashion. Yeah, you only have a certain number of items in the game because there are no stores, and so you have to use those items sparingly. I don't know. I find it. I find that part of it off-putting. I'd agree with that. It might as well just like not be there, and I'd be fine with it. If you just like had no fights and you just kind of had some narrative you wanted to tell, fine. I really disliked that whole section with Melchior. Yep. Especially because it was just so pointless. Like it could have just been a cutscene of you walking him up Mount Woe and then locking him in ice. Like what happens there? And instead, like have to do this whole thing. Keep him safe. I don't know that I have anything else to say about it. Yeah, and I don't know there's a lot to say about it because it's short. I like sort of the taking a moment to investigate one part of a pretty large world in Chrono Trigger. Yeah. It kind of makes you think about, like what's going on with characters in other parts when your main characters are not there. And I think there's plenty of room for investigation and those sorts of things. In a modern world, they might have had some kind of weird spin-off side game that they would have made, but instead Chrono Trigger's been some kind of like dead license for 20 some years or whatever. Which I guess shows how, Chrono Trigger has all these fans that are so interested in seeing new content that they will go out of their way to create something just because the people who own the rights don't do anything with it, and like aggressively Chrono Cross is the only thing. And aggressively shut down anyone's attempts to do anything with it. So, and neither of us. How much of Chrono Cross did you play? Some of it. First disc, maybe. Yeah, we only played like a little bit of it, and we were never particularly interested. I didn't think it was a particularly compelling game. Yeah. It's been a thing we've talked about coming back to and trying on this show. Yeah. But no, it is an option. It's the only thing that like they ever really did with that licensing after this. They've remade Chrono Trigger a couple times. Yeah. It's on the DS and the PlayStation. Yeah. I don't think they ever will do anything with it. So I think it's just kind of a too bad. They're one and done. Yeah. Radical Dreamers, the text-based thing that neither of us did anything with either. So I don't think that that's really particularly worth streaming. Like I would do it, but I think there'd be literally no one watching, and it's just like the two of us sitting there with a camera on, just like reading text for a few hours.
So, I mean, would you recommend it, yes or no?
Make sure you research the emulator you're going to use.
Don't use ours.
Don't use the same one we do.
Okay, here's what interjection. I think it's telling that the game is only like an hour, and I didn't want to go out of my way
to replay
it to show the ending. Whereas other games, I have gone out of my way to redo sections just for the broadcast because something got screwed up, like a technical problem.
Yeah.
And I spent more than an hour to like fix those things, but I didn't do it here because I was like, I'm not interested in redoing this.
If you watched this, you already know the answers to some of the puzzles and whatnot.
You've seen
like 90%,
85%, 90%. You know, you've seen a lot.
If like that still made you want to play it, yeah, go play it. Like Magus is my favorite character. I loved seeing some more of his story in the game.
Yeah,
and getting to like fill a little bit of that hole, like you were saying. So yeah, I would recommend it to somebody if that was what they wanted. If, you're not that excited about it, or you really don't like the puzzle aspect of those fights, then watch somebody play it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think that his sister is a really interesting character that doesn't get investigated, like, at all in the game.
I think there's a hack where you can recruit her. That's like Chrono Trigger's story, but there's some other thing happening where you get to recruit Shala.
Yeah.
And that one's been like on one of my lists of things that we might play at some point. I think that the last time I looked at it, it wasn't super far in development or something like that. But it would be interesting. Any last thoughts? Would you recommend it?
I think I'm a no. Because I think it's kind of like if you just are burning with curiosity and you have like an hour to kill, sure, but I don't think it's not going to change your world, your understanding of Chrono Trigger or anything like that. I think it's just kind of a footnote.
Sure.
A fan-made footnote. I would be more compelled to do something about that if they expanded it. But I read a thing about the making of it once, and they were talking about they had a deadline. And it's like, why do you have a deadline? Like, you're making a fan-made project that isn't making any money. Why are you operating with deadlines? Just you want to work on it more, refine your final product.
Yeah,
like whatever. I'm not saying that it needs to be like the length of Chrono Trigger, but from his perspective, and you see him just doing all sorts of crazy side stories and everything, but it's so, I don't know, there's just not enough content there for me to be like enthusiastic about it.
Sure. All right, well, that was Chrono Trigger.
And one day we'll do more Chrono Trigger stuff because we like the game a lot.
Yeah, for sure.